And yes, I know, this game has not received a PlayStation 5 Pro update yet, but that's the chance to see the raw performance of the PlayStation 5 Pro. And in this video, I'm just focusing on the 60 FPS performance mode because in my opinion, this is the only graphic mode where you can experience the game in the best way. And of course, the first question what I had is there any visual difference between the base PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro in the performance 60 FPS mode? And what you can see here right now, my side-by-side comparison clearly tells there is not a single difference actually. And when we're looking a little bit closer, or when we know actually what's going on, then we understand why. Because this game has a native or fixed 1080p resolution in the performance mode with FSR and frame generation. So that means there can't be any difference in terms of resolution. And when we're now looking very closely, we can see that FSR is actually not doing a very well job in this game. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the graphic style, I like how the game looks in general, but when we're looking from a technical point of view, then we can clearly see issues. And with this in mind, I'm really looking forward for the PlayStation 5 Pro update, and I hope that if PSSR is in use, that we have a proper implementation, because PSSR can make a big difference. Because in this case, we have already a native 1080p solution. That means it is hopefully not a big deal for PSSR to get us a better image quality, less shimmering, less edges on very fine details, and less blurriness when you actually play the game. But because I have no idea at the moment, or no infos about an upcoming Wukong patch for the PlayStation 5 Pro, those are all assumptions. But I hope that when we get a proper patch for the PlayStation 5 Pro, that we have a proper implementation. And I already mentioned that in my opinion, the performance mode is the only graphic option where you can enjoy this game, and the explanation for this is actually very simple. So let's start with the base PlayStation 5 and let's start with the quality mode. And as you can see here, the quality mode is not even a fixed 30 FPS mode. So most of the time it's hovering between, let's say 29 in the worst case and 34, 35 FPS. So this is actually worse than a fixed 30 FPS mode. Continuing with the balanced mode on the base PlayStation 5, we can see that the frame rate target is actually 45 FPS. So it's kept to 45 FPS. So I'm not quite sure what that means or what the reason was for that, because we know clearly that the VRR range on the PlayStation 5 Pro or base PlayStation 5 is actually 48 to 120 frames per second. So why are we capping this at 45 FPS where we can't use VRR at all? And that's why this mode, in my opinion, is not really usable. And when we're now looking on the performance mode on the base PlayStation 5, then we can see that at least in the test sequence, we have an almost perfect 60 FPS experience with frame generation turned on. But I have to say, in regards of input lag or how the game is reacting to my inputs, actually, I couldn't feel any difference, or I was able perfectly playing this game. I mean, I lost a lot, I was killed a lot, but this is because of my skills. And now it's getting actually really interesting, because now we're talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro and we're starting with the quality mode. And what you can see here right now, that we're suddenly having actually a much higher frame rate, up to 45 FPS. So it appears to me that the quality mode on the PlayStation 5 Pro, I mean, it runs much better than on the base PlayStation 5, but it is also capped to 45 FPS. The next on the list is the balanced mode on the PlayStation 5 Pro, and here again we have the cap to 45 FPS. I really hope that with our PlayStation 5 Pro update we will see better frames here, or an unlocked balanced mode, or whatever you want to call it, within the VRR range, because this would make this mode on the PlayStation 5 Pro usable. And last but not least, we have the performance mode on the PlayStation 5 Pro, and here the same as on the base PlayStation 5, an almost perfect 60 FPS experience. It's actually really interesting because we had the same dip on the base PlayStation 5 as on the PlayStation 5 Pro, down to 41 FPS. But again, this is still within the VRR range. And last but not least, I like to compare the intro sequence on the base PlayStation 5 with the PlayStation 5 Pro. And what you can see here right now is that the base PlayStation 5 is struggling to hit 60 FPS. On the other hand, the PlayStation 5 Pro is hitting 60 FPS much more often. Okay, my friends, so that's it for this very interesting video, and I had a lot of fun testing this, and I still couldn't beat this little monster here behind me. Anyway, it really shows the pure power of the PlayStation 5 Pro, because doing all my testing, or doing the testing where we had issues with frame rate on the base PlayStation 5, I clearly could see that we have up to 20 FPS more on the PlayStation 5 Pro. So I just hope that we keep this with a PlayStation 5 Pro update. So I like to have a 60 FPS experience with PSSR and picture or image quality improvement. This is what I like to have, okay? I don't want to have a 45 FPS experience on the PlayStation 5 Pro with a little bit of an image improvement, okay? So please don't do that, okay? Keep 60 FPS and don't be like other companies and remove graphic options, okay? I would really appreciate that we have all options in the game where we can choose between the best one what we like, okay? So I think that's enough for this video. I like to read your comments now, and I see you guys later. Bye.